हेलो गाइज, हम स्टार्ट करते हैं नॉन फेरस मेटल एंड अलॉयज। ठीक है, जो हमारा पार्ट 4 है आपका। ठीक है, इंजीनियरिंग मटेरियल्स का स्टार्ट करते हैं। विच टाइप ऑफ स्टील इज मोस्टली यूज्ड इन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ऑफ प्रिसीजन मेजरिंग इंस्ट्रूमेंट। तो निकल और स्टील। ठीक है, क्यों करते हैं? क्योंकि इसमें जो थर्मल एक्सपेंशन होता है वो बहुत कम हो जाता है। ठीक है, इसकी वजह से जो मेजरमेंट होता है वो एक्यूरेट होता है। निकल स्टील इज मोस्टली यूज इन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बिकॉज रिंग ऑफ प्रिसीजन मेजर इंस्ट्रूमेंट। ठीक है, ऑन इंक्रीज ऑफ परसेंटेज ऑफ निकल इन स्टील द प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ थर्मल एक्सपेंशन स्टार्ट डिक्रीजिंग। ठीक है, निकल क्रोमियम स्टील कंटेन 3.25% निकल एंड 1.5% of chromium and 0.25% carbon. It is used mostly as cover plate. The alloying element in स्टेनलेस स्टील्स आर क्या होता है? निकिल एंड क्रोमियम। ठीक है, तो अलोइंग एलिमेंट्स इन स्टेनलेस स्टील्स आर, ठीक है, आर निकिल एंड क्रोम. Stainless steel is a group of iron-based alloys. It contains approximately 11% chromium in a composition. Chromium prevents heat-resistant property. Stainless steel can be rolled into sheets, plates, bars, wires, and tubing. In the process normalizing of steel, the steel is heated above its upper critical temperature in the range of 30 to 50 degrees centigrade. ठीक है, in the normalization process the steel is heated to a temperature 30 degree to 50 degree centigrade above the upper critical temperature and cold in air at to room temperature. ठीक है, the microstructure of metal change after this process due to which the hardness of the metal decreases and ductility increases to restore the qualities of job by removing the deformation of internal structure of the job. Next, which main alloying element is used in increase the corrosion resistance in steel? ठीक है, corrosion resistant बनाने के लिए क्रोमियम alloy यूज करते हैं। ठीक है, देख लेते हैं। क्रोमियम इज द मेन alloying element used in steel to increase its corrosive resistance. Corrosion of ferrous metal. One of the most familiar type of corrosion in ferrous oxide generally resulting from atmospheric oxidation of steel surface. Second, ferrous metals are vulnerable to rust when exposed to the element due to their high carbon content. Sulfur form inclusion of magnesium supplied in the metal structure which increase chip breaking. Silicon addition improve magnetic softness and increase the electrical conductivity. ठीक है, आगे देखते हैं। Statement 1. Magnesium is always added to steel since it combines with sulfur content to form magnesium sulfide. Statement 2. If magnesium is not added, iron sulfide, which is not harmful for steel, could form. देखते, magnesium will act as oxidizer and purifying agent in steel, and it combines with sulfur to decrease the harmful effect on steel. ठीक है, तो ये आपका स्टेटमेंट 1 करेक्ट है, सो द स्टेटमेंट 2 इज रॉन्ग। ठीक है, आगे देखते हैं। स्टेटमेंट 1. मैकेनिकली perlite has properties intermediate between the soft ductile fertile and hard brittle cementite. Statement 2. Alpha iron can made magnetic above 768 degrees centigrade. First, perlite is the compound of alpha ferrite and cementite. It is two-phased structure composed of alternating layer of ferrite 87.5% weight and cementite 12.5% weight that occurs in some steel and cast iron. Alpha ferrite is a soft ductile in nature and cementite is brittle in nature. Ferrite is ferromagnetic at a low temperature but loses its magnetic property with the rise of temperature with a major loss to cure temperature 768 degrees centigrade, and above this temperature it becomes non-magnetic. ठीक है, a cold chisel is made up of which type of steel? Which is a high carbon steel. ठीक है, the cold chisel is made of high carbon steel. Two types of chisel होता है, hot chisel and cold chisel. A cold chisel क्या होता है? Hand cutting tool used for filters for chopping and cutting of operation. Cold chisel are used in sheet metal workshop. ठीक है, अगला क्वेश्चन देखते हैं। The process that involves the removal of sulfur from the ore is called roasting. ठीक है, the process that involves the removal of sulfur from the ores is called roasting. This process used to remove sulfur or other elements such as arsenic and tellurium from the ore in the form of volatile oxide. Smelting is the process of applying heat to an ore to extract a base metal. The refining process in the method by which the crude oil is alternated into usable consumer products such as gasoline, diesel, jet fuel and other petroleum products. Which of the following types of steel is having higher hardness, which is a high carbon steel? ठीक है, in given option high carbon steel have higher hardness. High carbon steel, the carbon percentage varies from 0.8% to 1.6%. A high percentage of carbon gives hardness and strength to the metal. It is used for making chisel, crane, hooks, die, punch, boards, reamers, etc. Which of the following materials has the maximum melting point, which is a mild steel? ठीक है, आगे 18 फॉरवर्ड सलाह 18 स्टीलनेस स्टील हैज़ क्या होता है 18% ऑफ क्रोमियम एंड 8% ऑफ निकल. इसका मतलब नोटेशन का मतलब ये होता है. ठीक है, इन लो कार्बन स्टील द प्रेजेंस ऑफ स्मॉल क्वांटिटी ऑफ सल्फर इम्प्रूव्स क्या होता है मशीनेबिलिटी. ठीक है, इन लो कार्बन स्टील द प्रेजेंस ऑफ स्मॉल क्वांटिटी ऑफ sulfur improve machinability. Magnesium improve the hardenability, toughness and corrosive resistant property. Molybdenum improves hardenability, abrasion resistance, hot hardness, strength, corrosion resistance and reduce thermal expansion of low carbon steel. Which of the following is true? Which is the symbol used in killed steel is K. ठीक है, स्टील इज एलॉय ऑफ, तो आपको पता है आयरन एंड कार्बन का होता है. ठीक है, स्टील इज एलॉय ऑफ आयरन एंड कार्बन कंटेन्स ए स्मॉल अमाउंट ऑफ कार्बन टू इंक्रीज its strength and resistance of fracture in comparison to other kind of iron. Steel is an iron and carbon alloy with a maximum carbon concentration of 2%. ठीक है, जिसे क्रोमियम. अब अगला क्वेश्चन, इन स्टील मेन अलॉय काजिंग कोरोजन रेजिस्टेंस इज क्या होता है क्रोमियम. ठीक है, अभी हमने देखा है क्रोमियम इज वन ऑफ द इम्पॉर्टेंट मेटल विच इज यूज टू इम्प्रूव द फॉलोइंग कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ मेटल टू इंक्रीज द एब्रेशन रेजिस्टेंस, टू provide the better hardness, to improve the corrosion and oxidation resistance, to increase the temperature resistance with the high carbon resist wear and abrasion. ब्रॉन्ज इज एन एलॉय ऑफ, आपको पता होगा कॉपर एंड टिन का होता है. ठीक है, यहाँ कुछ एलॉयस का नाम है, किसका किसका कॉम्बिनेशन और क्या यूज़ है वो आप देख सकते हो. ठीक है, डेल्टा मेटल इज एन एलॉय ऑफ है, अभी यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो, यहाँ पे नहीं दिया हुआ. ठीक है, तो ये होता है कॉपर, जिंक, लेड एंड आयरन का. ठीक है, इन स्टील सिलिकॉन इज एन एलॉय ऑफ एलिमेंट, तो आपको पता है एक्ट एज अ डीऑक्सीडाइजिंग एजेंट, इम्प्रूव द सरफेस ग्रेन स्ट्रेंथ, इंक्रीज टफनेस एंड प्रमोट मैग्नेटिक प्रॉपर्टीज. ठीक है, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट इज ट्रू. अब इन स्टेटमेंट में से कौन सा ट्रू है, तो ऑप्शन ए ट्रू है, कास्ट एल्यूमिनियम एलॉय आर स्पेसिफाइड बाय ए 4 डिजिट सिस्टम वाइल ब्रॉट एलॉय बाय ए 5 डिजिट सिस्टम. ठीक है, अगला क्वेश्चन पढ़ते हैं. Which one of the following contains other alloying elements such as copper, vanadium, nickel and molybdenum is combined concentration as high as 10% weight and possess higher strength than the plain low carbon steel, which is a high strength low alloying steel. In the following system, steel grades are designed in series, which is a British standard designation system. The alloy steel 40 CR 18 Ni2 designated by Bureau of Indian Standard contains 0.4% carbon, 18% chromium and 2% nickel. ठीक है, high purity copper metal is obtained by dash electrolytes. Major constituent of gun metal is copper. Which of the following is an example of tin and lead based alloy which is a fusible metal? The material used for making pentium of the clock are nickel steel. Amongst the following, which one is the which is non-metal, which is a asbestos? The most abundant metal in the earth's crust is aluminium. Bell metal is an alloy of a tin and copper. Steel is made up from cast iron by removing all excess carbon. ठीक है, the tools for sorry ये गलती से क्या द टूल्स फॉर मेटल कटिंग लाइक फिल्स etc आर मेड अप ऑफ है हाई कार्बन स्टील। नेक्स्ट देखते हैं, which one of the following alloy is most suitable for application in bearing, bushing, piston rings, steam fitting and gears, which is a tin bronze. Which one of the following stainless steel is used in automobiles exhaust components, valves and combustion chamber, which is a ferritic stainless steel. Which one is not a type of stainless steel, which is a paralytic stainless steel. Which is not a material of automobile piston, which is a steel forgings. जर्मन सिल्वर इज अलॉय ऑफ है, किसका किसका होता है, कॉपर निकल एंड जिंक का होता है, ठीक है। कॉपर 50%, जिंक 19%, निकल 30%। विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग मेटल हैज़ द हाईएस्ट मेल्टिंग पॉइंट, विच इज ए कार्बन स्टील, ठीक है। विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग मेटल्स हैज़ द हाईएस्ट बॉन्ड एनर्जी, विच इज ए टंगस्टन, ठीक है। एग्जाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स देख लेते हैं। The addition of silicon to aluminum results in improvement of casting characteristics, ठीक है। Metals which is used for making electrical resistance wire for electric furnace and heating elements is nichrome. Consider following with respect to composition of alkali metal contains 88% copper and 10% zinc and rest tin. The steel containing 16 to 18% chromium and about 0.12% carbon is called ferrite stainless steel. Monel metals made 63 to 67% nickel and 30% copper. In the lower part of the blast furnace zone of fusion, the temperature is 1200 degrees centigrade to 13 degrees centigrade. The correct composition of aluminum bronze is 75% copper, 12% tin, 5% aluminum. The composition of soldering alloy is tin and lead. The addition of coke in the charge of blast furnace supplies heat to reduce ore and metal the iron. That pipe which is least corrosion resistant cast iron. The material in which the atoms are arranged irregularly in some direction, not in other, is called mesomorphous material. Pig iron is the name given to product and blast furnace produced by reduction of iron ore. Age hardening is related with which of the duralumin material. Composition of babbitt metal is lead base alloy, copper base alloy. Silicon, when it's added to copper, improve hardness and strength. What happens when a small percentage of boron is added to steel, increase hardness? Ball bearing are made up of chromium steel. The metal suitable for bearing subjected to light loading condition is white metal. Surveying taps are used from material having low coefficient of expansion and enough strength. The alloy used is inward. Shock resisting steel should have high toughness. Material used for bearing linear is babbitt metal. Addition of copper to aluminum result in one of the best known age of precipitation hardening system. Mild steel is an alloy of iron and carbon with percentage of carbon ranging from 0.15 to 0.3%. Copper is used for making electrical conductor because it has low resistance. Brass is an alloy of copper and zinc. Aluminum alloys are readily used in aircraft industry because of high strength to weight ratio. Taps, dies and drill contains carbon below 1%. Moods metal contains copper and zinc. Its ratio will 60 to 40. The addition of cobalt is improved tensile strength, hardness, toughness and magnetic properties. That element which can replace tungsten in high-speed steel, molybdenum 18 to 41 high-speed steel contains alloying composition vanadium, chromium and tungsten. Frederick crucible is made of graphite. Delta metal is alloy of copper, zinc, iron. Alloying composition of delta in 93.5% aluminum, 4.4% copper, 0.6% magnesium and 1.5% magnesium. The aluminum alloy made by melting aluminum with 2 to 10% manganese and 1.75% copper is called magnesium. The constant used for micro capsule is an alloy of copper and nickel. ठीक है, अब स्टार्ट करते हैं इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ नैनो मटेरियल्स एंड मेटा मटेरियल। ठीक है, पहला क्वेश्चन देखते हैं। टेक्निकल टेक्सटाइल्स आर, टेक्निकल टेक्सटाइल क्या होता है? द हाई डेंसिटी फाइबर विच आर lightest and toughest rest mainly used in automobiles and aerospace industry. ठीक है, इसके बारे में पढ़ लेते हैं. Technical textile today's include textiles for automotive application, car interiors, upholstery, medical textiles, geotextile, agrotextile, and protective clothing. Technical textiles are defined as textile material and products used mainly for their technical performance and functional properties rather than their aesthetic or decorative characteristic. Mobile tech is used in the construction of automobiles, railways, ships, aircraft, and spacecraft. Technically, textiles are the high density fibers are the lightest and toughest fabrics at. ठीक है, अगला the characteristics of nanomaterial is to have which is a very high surface area to volume ratio compared to bulk material. ठीक है, characteristics of nanomaterials क्या होता है? Nanomaterial are usually very small in size and larger on specific surface and have a higher surface energy. The number of superficial people accounted for a large percentage of the total. When the particle size is less than 10 mm, the percentage of surface atoms increase sharply, and these surface atoms are in a very empty state. ठीक है, consider the following statement. Nano means 10 to the power minus 9, so that nanomaterial have an order of dimension higher than the size of atoms and come in the form of rods, tubes, spheres, and even thin sheet film. Nanomaterial have enhanced or changed structural property. Nanomaterial tend themselves to mechanical processing like rolling, twisting, positioning. Nano element so important electrical, magnetic, and optical characteristics that are useful in इलेक्ट्रिकल इंडस्ट्री. ठीक है, तो आंसर बी विच मीन दैट ऑल ऑप्शंस आर द करेक्ट. ठीक है, आगे देखते हैं. विथ रेफरेंस टू नैनो मटेरियल द प्रीफिक्स नैनो स्टैंड फॉर विच इज ए नैनोमीटर. ठीक है, नैनो. द मशीन यूज फॉर प्रिपरेशन ऑफ नैनो पार्टिकल्स ऑफ एल्यूमिना इज कॉल्ड एट्रेशन मिल. ठीक है, कहते हैं. In order to make the optimum method for certain set of nanostructure patterns, material and volume requirement, which of the following steps process are involved? First, interference lithography, electron beam lithography, nano pattern replications, which is all statements are correct. Which of the following are not the production method for carbon nanotubes? तो इलेक्ट्रिकल आर्क डिस्चार्ज मेथड गलत है आपका. लेज़र वेपराइजेशन में गलत है. क्रक्सी मेथड और मेटालाइजेशन मेथड बोथ आर करेक्ट है. सी ऑप्शन आर द करेक्ट. ठीक है, प्रोडक्शन मेथड ऑफ कार्बन नैनोट्यूब्स का इलेक्ट्रिकल आर्क डिस्चार्ज मेथड होता है. ठीक है, लेज़र वेपराइजेशन मेथड बॉल मिलिंग और केमिकल वेपर डिपोजिशन. ठीक है, तो ये सी हो जाएगा. The electronics properties of the nanotube could be changed between metallic and semiconducting supply of fairing, which is the tube diameter. ठीक है, the properties of CNT depends upon diameter of nanotube. CNT have high thermal conductivity, CNT have high electrical conductivity, CNT aspect ratio, CNT have the low thermal expansion coefficient. ठीक है, इसमें आंसर आई थिंक गलत दे रखा है क्या. ठीक है, यहाँ नॉट लिखा हुआ है इसलिए 3 और 4 है. ठीक है, आगे मुझे लगा कि आगे देखते हैं. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग रिप्रेजेंट द प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ कार्बन नैनो ट्यूब्स. ठीक है, पहला हाई इलेक्ट्रिकल कंडक्टिविटी, सेकंड वेरी हाई टेंसाइल स्ट्रेंथ, थर्ड हाई थर्मल कंडक्टिविटी, फोर्थ लो थर्मल एक्सपेंशन कोएफिशिएंट. हेंस ऑल द ऑप्शन इज द करेक्ट ऑफ द रिप्रेजेंट कार्बन नैनो ट्यूब्स के बारे में. ठीक है, प्रॉपर्टीज क्या होते हैं? Carbon nanotechnology have the higher thermal conductivity, higher electrical conductivity, very high tensile strength, low thermal expansion of coefficient, very elastic होते हैं. ठीक है, अगला क्वेश्चन देखते हैं. कंसिडर द फॉलोइंग मेथड फॉर नैनो पार्टिकल सिंथेसिस. क्या होता है? फर्स्ट बॉटम अप, टॉप डाउन, स्लाइड बाय साइड. ठीक है, तो हेंस 2 इज ओनली करेक्ट. टॉप डाउन होता है. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. The material composed of C60 molecules that contains 60 carbon atoms in a network of sp2 bonding which form a spherical structure is known as क्या होता है? बकमिस्टर फुलरेंस. ठीक है, ये एलोट्रॉप्स होते हैं कार्बन्स के जिसमें 60 कार्बन एटम होते हैं. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. The techniques used to produce a small device pattern in silicon water is called फोटोलिथोग्राफी, ठीक है। कि कंसिडर द फॉलोइंग प्रोसेस, ठीक है। सेलो जेल प्रोसेस, इलेक्ट्रो डिपोजिशन, प्लाज्मा इनहेंस्ड वेपर डिकम्पोजिशन, गैस फेज कंडेंसेशन, स्पुटरिंग टेक्निक। तो वह प्रोसेस रिलेटेड टू किससे प्रोसेस है, तो सिंथेसिस ऑफ नैनो पाउडर से रिलेटेड है, ठीक है। आगे बढ़ते हैं। व्हाट इज द स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्म ऑफ एसजेंटी, तो विच इज ए हेलोसाइट्स नैनो ट्यूब्स होता है, ठीक है। विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग neurotoxic effects come under silver nanoparticle, which is a narrow inflammation, ठीक है। The polymeric nanofilms come under dash dimensional nanomaterial, which is a 2, ठीक है। Which one of the following comes under inorganic nanoparticle, which is none of the above, ठीक है। टाइप्स ऑफ नैनो पार्टिकल कौन सा है, ऑर्गेनिक नैनो पार्टिकल होता है, इनऑर्गेनिक एंड कार्बन बेस्ड नैनो पार्टिकल, ठीक है। द मेजरमेंट रेंज ऑफ स्मॉल एंगल एक्स रे स्कैटर्ड इन अराउंड 5 mm 5 नैनोमीटर, ठीक है, सॉरी नैनोमीटर। द सोडियम क्लोराइड इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ डैश मटेरियल विच इज ए नैनो मटेरियल, ठीक है। विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग आर द क्रिस्टल स्ट्रक्चर decided which is a bulk material, in which one of the following material the electronic structure is continuous, which is a bulk material. Which one of the following comes under two-dimensional nanomaterial, which is a nano disk and nano layers, ठीक है, both A and B. In which one of the following nanomaterials the quantum confinement occurs in all three directional, which is a zero dimensional, ठीक है. Which one of the following nanotoxic effect come under iron oxide nanoparticle, which is a nerve conduction alteration. The material nanoparticles and metal oxide based nanoparticles are dash nanoparticle, which is an inorganic nanoparticle. The material with 3 or 2 or 1 external dimension in the nanoscale is known as, which is a nano object. The material with 3 or 2 or 1 external dimension in the nanoscale is known as nano object. The nanotubes are characterized into dash types, which is a 3 types, ठीक है. Which one of the following neurotoxic effects come under silica nanoparticle, which is a both A and B? Cognitive impairment or cognitive dysfunctions. The carbon nanotubes, graphene and fluorines are the dash-based nanoparticle, which is carbon-based. The measurement range of particle tracking analysis method is around dash meter, which is approx 25 nanometer. Which one of the following type of hollow nanofiber, which is a nano tube? The nano object with all three external dimension of nanoscale is known as, which is a nanoparticle. ठीक है, आगे देखते हैं. Which one of the following option comes under physical property of nanoparticle, which is a melting point? Which of one of the following material cannot be seen by simple microscope, which is nanometers, ठीक है. Which one of the following is an example of nanomaterial, which is a nano silica? The creating of nanoscale materials by chemically or physically breaking down the larger material is known as dash approaching in nanotechnology, which is top down. Which of the following is an example for nanowires of the metal, which is a nickel? Which of the following is an example of nanowires of insulator, which is silicon dioxide? The polymeric nanoparticles come under dash dimensional nanomaterial, which is 0. The bulk nanomaterials come under dimensional nanomaterial, which is known by 3. ठीक है, 3 dimension. Which one of the following nanotoxic effects come under ellipsosomes nanomaterial, which is a necrosis? What is the stand form of CNFs, which is a carbon nanofibers? Which one of the following is an example of top-down approach? We know that ball mill techniques. ठीक है, अभी हमने पढ़ा हुआ है. The measurement range of electron microscopic is around dash meter, which is a 1 nanometer. Which one of the following is an example of molecular nanowire, which is DNA? ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. Which one of the following is an example of templates which is a nano channel glass? The absorption of molecules is high in test material which is a nano materials. आगे देखते हैं. Which one of the following nanotoxic effect come under quantum dots which is a cell function damage, increase oxidative stress, both A and B. The measurement range of dynamic light scattering is around, which is approx 5 to 500 nanometer. The CVD reactors are characterized into dash type, which is a 2. Which one of the following is an example for nanowires of semiconductor with silicon? Which one of the following is an example for bottom-up approach, which is a sol gel process? What is a standard form of CNT, which is a carbon nanotubes? Which one of the following nanotoxic effects comes under dendritic merix type nanometer, which is a apoptosis? The iron oxide nanoparticles come under dash dimension nanometer, which is a 0. In which one of the following the number of constituting particles are from 2 to several thousand, which is a nanomaterial? The number of constituting particles are 1 for atom and many for molecules is which atom or molecules. What is stand from no NOMFET, which means that nanoparticle organic memory field effect transistor. Which are the use of carbon nanotubes, which is used in composite used for battery technology? Both the options are correct. How many layers does multi-well nanotubes consist of, which is a multi? देखते हैं. How many tubes of graphite does a single well nanotube consist of, which is a 1? In which one of the following nanomaterial the quantum confinement occurs in two directional, which is one dimensional? Which one of the following neurotoxic effects come under golden nanoparticle, which is a cognition defects? The nano whisker come under dash dimension nanomaterial, which is a 1. The measurement range of centrifugal liquid sedimentation is around dash meter, which is 20 nanometer. Which one of the following is a type of electrospoon nanofiber, which is a cellulose? Which one of the following neurotoxic effects come under carbon nanotubes, which is a liquid peroxidation or apoptosis, which is both and? The hybrid nanomaterials are characterized into dash type, which is 3 types. Which one of the following come under quantum dots, which is both CDSC, which is candium cyanide, and zinc sulfides? Hence both are both inorganic nanomaterials that are used to make quantum dots. ठीक है. Quantum dots are inorganic nanoparticles that are synthesized from inorganic metal and complexes such as CDSC, candium cyanide, and zinc sulfides. They are often coated with organic material to make them biocompatible and biological active. ठीक है. ठीक है, अगला क्वेश्चन देखते हैं. Which one of the following comes under 3-dimensional nanomaterial, which is a embedded cluster and equiax crystallates, which both A and B? In which one of the following the number of constituent particles are infinite, which is a bulk material? In which one of the following nanomaterial the quantum confinement occurs in one direction, is 2-dimensional? Pick the odd one out and respect to the application of metamaterial, which is a metamaterial absorber counteract adverse effect of seismic wave. What kind of metamaterial behaves both as a metal and dielectrics, which is a hyperbolic metamaterial? Split ring resonator is the metamaterial existing artificial magnetism, which is a true statement. ठीक है. Which factor is not responsible for controlling sound waves using acoustic metamaterial, which is a Telegram parameter? What caused the electromagnetic properties in the material which is a response of meta atom. Which of the following options best describe an electromagnetic band gap meta material which is a controlled propagation of light? What is the physical significance of the negative sign for the refractive indices for meta material? First is option is anti-parallel phase velocity of wave. The metamaterial absorber can be applied as a useful feature which of the following, which is solar photovoltaics. Who studies metamaterial for first time, which is a Jagadish Chandra Bose in 1898. Choose the correctly matched pair from the following, which is a bioisotropic magnetoelectric coupling. ठीक है, अब आगे देखते हैं basis of corrosion creep and test. पहला क्वेश्चन है, इन द टेंसाइल टेस्ट फॉर स्लो डिफॉर्मेशन इज कॉल्ड, क्या होता है, क्रीपिंग कहते हैं. स्लो डिफॉर्मेशन. फटीग स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ मटेरियल इज इंक्रीज का बाय अंडर स्ट्रेसिंग. ठीक है. Creep plays an important role in the design of which of the following, which is a gas turbine blades. Which of the following process will improve the fatigue life of a part, which is short pinning. Short pinning क्या होता है, mechanical cold working process that involve bombarding a metal surface with a high velocity shot. This process created compressive residual stress and plastic strain near the surface, making it difficult for fatigue cracks to nucleate and propagate. The phenomenon under which the strain in a material varies under constant stress with time is known as creep. As the temperature increases, fatigue's life and fatigue's limit decrease. The process which does not improve the fatigue strength of the material is electroplating of the surface. Slow plastic deformation of metal under steady load is known as, which is the B option, which is the creep. आगे देखते हैं. If the size of standard specimen for a fatigue testing machine is increased, the endurance limit for the material will be decreases. Minimum creep rate is, which is slope of secondary portion of creep curve. The fatigue fracture is generally considered as brittle fracture. The fatigue resistance of material is reduced by poor surface finish. The most conservative fatigue failure criteria is Soderberg's. The fatigue cracks in metal generally start at surface of specimen. Creep curve is a plot of a creep curve किसका plot है आपका, strain versus time का. Slow plastic deformation of metal under a constant stress is known as creep. The progressive plastic deformation at constant load over a long period is known as creep. Next question, the failure that happens due to cyclic loading is called, which is known as fatigue failure. We know that what is fatigue failure. When a material is subjected to repeated stress, it falls at a stress below the yield point stress. Such type of failure of the material is known as fatigue. Fatigue failure is also known as time delayed fracture under cyclic loading. This is known as fatigue failure. Okay. And next question is, which kind of corrosion is difficult to monitor and is very dangerous for metal? Which is a pitting corrosion. Okay. Pitting corrosion is a hard to predict, detect and characterize. These corrosion cause hole or cavity on the surface which lead to failure of entire line. Next one is, the which of the following is not a method of protecting from corrosion, which is increasing the temperature. At what temperature the creep rate will be the highest for a material? Note where MP is the melting point of the material, which is a 0.7. Decreased grain size is a polycrystalline material which is increased yield strength and corrosion resistant. Next one is the sensitization of steel is a type of a which is the correct answer is the intergranular corrosion. corrosion penetration rate is directly proportional to weight loss after exposure time. टंगस्टन एलॉय स्टील इम्प्रूव द मेल्टिंग टेम्परेचर, ठीक है। और क्या बोला, इम्प्रूव वियर रेजिस्टेंस, इम्प्रूव कोरोजन रेजिस्टेंस है। तो बोथ ये तीनों ऑप्शन करेक्ट है, इसलिए ऑल ऑफ द मैच द फॉलोइंग देखते हैं, ठीक है। स्टील पे किस एलिमेंट की वजह से क्या इफेक्ट होता है, ठीक है। तो आपको पता है कैल्शियम की वजह से क्या होता है, इम्प्रूव टफनेस एंड फॉर्मेबिलिटी हो जाए। बोरॉन, बोरॉन की वजह से क्या होता है, इम्प्रूव हार्डनेबिलिटी। लेड की वजह से क्या होता है, इम्प्रूव मशीनेबिलिटी। और कॉपर की वजह से इम्प्रूव रेजिस्टेंस ऑफ टेम्परेचर कोरोजन। हेंस ऑप्शन सी इज द करेक्ट आंसर, ठीक है। द मेटल्स विच प्रोवाइड कोरोजन रेजिस्टेंस इन स्टील्स आर क्रोमियम एंड निकल, जो यहाँ पे हमारा इंजीनियरिंग मटेरियल एंड हो जाता है। अब हम नेक्स्ट वीडियो में नेक्स्ट चैप्टर स्टार्ट करेंगे। ओके, थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग दिस वीडियो।